it's not that verse. Sorry. How does it go? Paramdrishya nivartate. Dehina paramdrishya nivartate. So when one finds out the supreme goal of life, he becomes detached from the bodily concept. So you see, our whole goal has changed. In the material world, people are trying to satisfy their senses, they are trying to enjoy I, me, mine, and Srila Prabhupada has completely shaken all this, our concept, to the root. I mean, everything you strive for, everything that was valuable for you, now it's described as insignificant and is temporary. It's described as temporary. If a devotee says, my wife, he cannot actually say it with 100% conviction. But because he knows that this person is a servant of God, and this person is meant for his enjoyment. So he can say my wife, but he is aware that she belongs to God, and she belongs to service of God. So the goal of life, Srila Prabhupada has given us a different goal. Like a material coach will help you to achieve your goals, and spiritual coach will help you to choose different goals. He will tell you what should be your goal or what to desire. So success teachers say, I will help you to achieve your dreams. And what are the dreams of the conditioned soul? To enjoy the material world. So what's the use of being such a coach? Better to be a spiritual coach, or Gita coach, or Bhagavatam coach, and help people. First of all, tell to people what to desire, tell to people what should be their goal, and then help them achieve that goal. So how one, by positive attachment, one can achieve increase in detachment. So here, transcendence, Brahmani. And now Vedanta Sutra is quoted many times in Srila Prabhupada's teaching, Adhato Brahma Jigasa, Adha Ato, now therefore, Adha Ato, now therefore, that you are in the human form of life, Brahma Jigasa, Jigasa means inquiry, now is the time to inquire about the absolute truth. And without this inquiry, which is the beginning of spiritual development, one cannot become detached. So if one wants to get detached from the material world, he has to inquire, he has to hear, he has to understand. He has to understand the absolute truth. What is the nature of absolute truth? And now all this discussion may sound a little impersonal, absolute truth, this, that, but actually we know that the absolute truth is a person. And absolute truth has three aspects: Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan. Vadanti tat tattva vidas tattvam yaj jnana madvayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti shabdate. So the great thinkers and great sages have also concluded, after due consideration, like here, we say full consideration, vimrisheshu, they have concluded, Vadanti tattva tat vidas, those who know the truth, and Brahmeti Paramatmeti, that absolute truth is manifested in three aspects as Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. And Brahman represents the Sat or eternal aspect of the absolute truth. Paramatma represents the eternal and knowledgeable Sat-Chit aspect of the absolute truth. And Bhagavan, he has these two plus one more, Sat-Chit Anand. Sat-Chit Anand. Eternality, knowledge and bliss. Three aspects of the Absolute Truth. And then he knows that the supreme aspect of the Absolute Truth is Bhagavan, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it is said that there is 8,400,000 species of life, and in all of these species the bodily concept of life is present. Everybody is identified with Ahamameti, Janasya Moho Yamahamameti, that everybody is identifying actually with their body and with I, me, mine. Now, sometimes it's interesting how Srila Prabhupada formulates things. So, if one wants to get free from the bodily conception of life, which means identifying with the body and everything that is related to the body, then one has, Srila Prabhupada says, one has to increase the attachment to inquiry. To increase the attachment to inquiry. So how much we are curious, how much we are inquiring about the Absolute Truth and about our own relation to the Absolute Truth. Therefore we have Sambandha, Abhideya, Prayojana. The knowledge about the relationship with the Lord, the knowledge about the process of awakening this relationship, Abhideya, and developing, or awakening and developing love of God. And Prayojana, Prema Pumarto Mahan, the ultimate goal of life. So one needs to increase attachment to inquiry. One has to increase attachment to inquiry about Brahman. No, sorry. Not to inquiry, but it says attachment or inquiry. So now here he's actually inquiry shows attachment, at least how I understand. So if you're inquiring about someone, that means you like them, you become a little attached to some of their qualities, so you inquire. So if you're interested in the Absolute Truth, it means you are developing some interest and you are developing some attachment. So inquiry and attachment are related. When you inquire about something, it means you are interested and it means you are becoming attached. So this is the way, then when one starts to inquire like this, and develops some attachment, he can be situated in the transcendental devotional service, Shravanam, Kirtanam, yes. So these are 9 processes of devotional service. First 7 are Vaidhi Bhakti, last 2 are Raganuga Bhakti, or spontaneous devotional service. What does it mean to increase attachment for Brahman? What would you say?
What it means.
What does it mean to increase attachment for Brahman? For the Absolute Truth?
What you need to do it, or what it means like to get when you have it? No, when you increase it.
What does it mean?
It can mean so to develop a taste for the name, form, qualities and pastimes of the Supreme Absolute Truth.
Okay, that's very nice. It's not here, this answer is not the same as here, but it makes sense to develop a taste. Srila Prabhupada says it means to engage in devotional service. To increase attachment for Brahman means to engage in devotional service. I mean, you can increase attachment to Brahman by engaging in devotional service, or if you are already attached a little bit, then you are inspired enough to start devotional service. Now some people become attached to this impersonal meditation, impersonal process, and those who are attached to this aspect, Brahman, of the Absolute Truth, they cannot remain attached for a very long time. So therefore they go back to welfare activities. They start to do welfare activities, go back and become famous as opening hospitals and, you know, doing this kind of welfare activities. And so impersonalists reject this world as mithya, or Jagan mithya, Brahma Satyam Jagan mithya. Brahman is the truth, and this world is false. Brahman is real. So they come down again to Jagan mithya. They come down to the material world again, or they come back to material society, but they take sannyas to increase their attachment for Brahman, but they go back to welfare activities. Then yogis are attached to the Paramatma aspect of the Absolute Truth, like great sages like Vishwamitra. It says they fall down as victims of women. So Vishwamitra was mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita by Srila Prabhupada, and he fell victim to whom? Menaka. Okay, you remember heavenly girls. This is not good. All the boys know the name of the heavenly girl. This is not good. I'm objecting. So increased attachment for the Supreme Personality of Godhead is advised in all Shastras. Now people are afraid in spiritual life you have to give up. But here it says you cannot give up anything if you don't have something better. Let's say you have your favorite food is pommes. But there is one cake that you love more than anything, and that you get maybe only for your birthday. So if somebody offers you these potatoes and this cake, you have actually more attraction to the cake. You get it more rarely. And you like this, but you like this much more. So you become detached from the chips or pommes frites by actually getting attracted to the cake. So similarly, when one has a higher taste, we are so weak in Kali Yuga, we cannot be detached from anything. We are so attached. And we easily get attached to people, to food, to any kinds of enjoyment, to sounds. And for us there is no hope to get free from attachment. But the only hope, if there is a better toy, if there is a better toy in front of our eyes, and we say, oh, yeah, and then we forget for some time. And we forget about something that we are attracted to. But if you do it consciously, actually God really appreciates that. If you consciously dive yourself into kirtan, then you forget about sex. You really dive into kirtan, and you feel your whole body is satisfied with kirtan. And Srila Prabhupada was asked, what is the alternative for sex? And he said, chanting and dancing. Now you may say, come on, how can this be alternative? But actually chanting and dancing is also physical. It's a physical experience. If you chant, if you give your whole energy into chanting and dancing, it's a physical experience and the whole body becomes satisfied. You don't need to scratch the itch and try to satisfy your body in these other ways. Okay, so a little bit more of the purport. And again, Prabhupada quotes, can you say the whole verse, Paramdrishta? Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha Rasa varjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. Very famous, very important verse 259 from the Bhagavad Gita. It's a key to detachment is higher taste. And we have a cookbook which is called Higher Taste. So one can seize material activities when he actually has the taste for devotional service, has the taste for hearing and chanting. And we mentioned Prema Pumarto Mahan as the ultimate goal of life. So now another description of the ultimate goal of life here is Prema Pumarto Mahan, love of Godhead. Pure love of Godhead is the ultimate goal of life. But in order to attain this, one has to develop a higher taste. So without increasing love of Godhead, without developing a higher taste, one actually cannot achieve the perfectional stage or the transcendental position. So thank you very much for listening. Do you have any questions? So now I think I will ask Keshava Prabhu if it's okay, but if he agrees that you start giving classes, all of you, even 10-minute class, then one way to do a class, you go word by word and explain Sanskrit, explain everything. So that's one way. We can choose 3 words or one word, just focus on one word. Yes, you have a question?
Probably in the purport of this shloka, Prabhupada mentions that, Prabhupada is saying, but one who has tasted the beauty of the Supreme Lord Krishna in the course of his advancement in Krishna consciousness, no longer has a taste for dead material things. So, how can we realize, because it's been time immemorial that we have fallen, so not seeing Krishna. How do we realize the name, form, qualities and pastimes of Krishna? Is it just by hearing and reading in scriptures, or is there also other way in which we can realize and then we can get a taste which is higher taste than the taste for the dead matter?
I think first one has to understand what is the gain. Otherwise you are not motivated. If you don't understand that there will be greater gain in doing this, or maybe there will be a greater gain, maybe you are not 100% convinced, maybe you are not 100% sure, but you think maybe there will be a greater gain, and let me try. And then when you start trying and when you start experiencing higher taste, then you might dive deeper into it. And it is said that when you have jaundice, then you lose the taste for sweets, but the cure for this, the remedy for this, is that you continue taking sugar candy. You continue taking it. So similarly, maybe we don't have such a great taste for hearing and chanting, but if we continue hearing and chanting, the taste will come back, and the tongue will become purified, the ears will become purified, and we will be able to taste the greater taste. And Rupa Goswami is praying, my dear Lord, please give me thousands of ears and thousands of tongues, so I can chant the holy name and experience this higher taste. So how can you do anything, or how can you experience anything? By doing it. Like people ask me, how can I develop confidence that I can give class, that I can lead kirtan, that I can play mridanga? Simply by doing it. You have to practice. There is no greatest success secret than daily practice. But also, if one understands the benefit, he will be enthusiastic. So we do things with great knowledge. Prabhupada has given us so much motivation and so much clarification and so much marketing. Actually, all these books are marketing. They are propaganda. They are actually trying to convince us to try something. and to dive deeper into something. And but usually we don't have so much time to read. We have libraries with books, but they stay there. And we sell books, but we don't read them. We read them before we join, but when we join, then, better to eat prasadam than to read. Or when you read, you get sleepy because you have eaten a lot of prasadam. So better to take rest and be fresh for service. And then after some time you forget, why are you doing service? What are you doing here? I mean, you're wasting your time, wasting your life. You're a young man. So and Srila Prabhupada says, if you're not hearing, then whatever you do will be karma. So, hearing is the basis for the success. If all other eight ways of devotional service or aspects of devotional service, Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam. And therefore, these discussions from all angles of vision are important also, and to come to a proper conclusion and to become convinced this is the best thing to do. This is the best thing to do. Like people now have time, and how they are spending their time. They are spending their time by wasting their time. And we take opportunity to hear and chant. We are so fortunate. It's not that we are better than them, but we are fortunate that we are even doing this, trying this. And now devotees have like online japa. They chant together online. They have online japa. Online classes, online seminars. And yesterday I mentioned this, some of you were here, that in Serbia they now have school classes via TV. Through TV they have school classes for kids. So kids are not going to school, but they from their home they watch TV and they learn from the TV. So now this modern technology can be used for people to continue being active. Some people are working from home on their computers, but this cannot go for a long time. And I heard that the President of the United States already is planning to open up America again for business. So maybe, maybe their plan to manipulate people has finished, and maybe this all propaganda is not actually 100% true. How many people have died? You can manipulate this information. How do we know it is true that so many people are dying and this like that? So maybe they have achieved something, and then they want to. And if America starts to, relax, then now India is closed to 1 billion people, that they are all should be locked up. And, yeah. Now, when you offer obeisances here, you should not turn your feet and back towards Prabhupada, but you can offer either this way or this way. When you offer obeisances, like in general, when you come here, because the feet shouldn't be and the back when we offer obeisances towards Srila Prabhupada. So this way, if they head this way or this way, but not this way. Because you see the deities, you say, I want to offer obeisances to the deities, but then like with your feet or with your back towards Srila Prabhupada, so it's not proper. Yeah, so yesterday we discussed these things about the situation and what we should be afraid of. We should be afraid of actually not being able to surrender, and of Maya, being afraid of Maya. Okay, any last question? Who has the best question? Yes?
Now, what does it mean to be afraid of Maya?
To be afraid of Maya.
Because this process of Bhakti Yoga is there to eliminate the fear. So why do we have to fear that again?
It eliminates, Bhakti Yoga eliminates the fear of death and fear of pain. But fear of Maya is healthy. Fear of falling down into illusion again is healthy. Srila Prabhupada said that one of his complaints about his Western disciples is that they are not afraid of Maya enough. They're not afraid enough. So it's healthy to be afraid of Maya. But not to become like paranoid. But like one example, then, when there is sense gratification, materialistic person just dives into it. And devotee knows, if I indulge in sense gratification, if I surrender to self-gratification, then I'm going to get entangled in the material world. So there is this saying, fools rush in where angels fear to tread. You understand? Fools rush in where angels, they avoid the situation there. So when the materialistic person sees some object of sense gratification, whether it's a woman or a food, or a man for a woman, then they just have a tendency to completely dive into it. But when the spiritual person has this, he thinks, okay, so what is the best thing to do? And how? How do you do these things? How do you eat? How do you engage with the opposite gender? How do you do this? There is Shastric regulation also. So if one has a need, then he can do it by the Shastric regulation. And if you do it by the Shastric regulation, then you don't get entangled, or you get entangled less. So that's important. So healthy fear of Maya is actually beneficial. Okay? Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai.